Awesome date. February 27th, 2012. Awesome topic. We're actually recording a podcast of 2012. It's the OSMcast!
Welcome to rock and roll night. Welcome to rock and roll fight. I'm just a rock and roll man. We just a rock and roll band.
We're not doing penguin drum yet. Anyways, hey folks, it's the OSMcast. I'm Basil.
I'm Douglas.
I'm Kevin.
And that's us. And it's actually 2012. And we're recording.
Yay!
In 2012.
Yep.
This is actually releasing tomorrow.
Should we
Kinky.
start out with some of the bad news for why it's been since...
I covered it in the previous episode that I released.
Okay, so everybody's already know of the tragic befalling
Yes.
of the OSMcast. That was not so awesome.
It's true, but we're back. I will not say better than ever, but by God, it's going to be pretty great. Pretty awesome. We've got Bruce here.
Yes, we have a special guest star, Bruce the dog, who will probably not be speaking much, but he will probably be making various noises and adding his input in facial expressions that sadly you will not be able to see, but we will go ahead and tell you they're all very cute.
It's very true. So, what's been everybody been up to lately? That tells you what we've been up to lately.
Yeah.
I've been killing myself with schoolwork.
Yeah.
It's true. College is back in session. That's actually one of the reasons what took so long to get back in the groove, as that Doug and I both had to get back to the groove of going back to school. That can be a rough groove to get back into sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Indeed. Well, like I say, like I know. I'm the one who's never been to college.
And much like schoolwork, believe it or not, is panel work, which is important because I'll be doing panels pretty freaking soon. I'm doing panels for MomoCon, which is the 16th through 18th in Atlanta, Georgia. I'll be doing Manga You Need to Own Right Now, where I'll talk about a bunch of manga you should own right now. All stuff that's in print, it's all good and you should own it. Or at least some of them. Getting your anime groove back, which is my thing, where if you've been out of anime lately, here are some neat shows that you really should be paying attention to. One of which we'll be talking about tonight.
Oh yes.
Which is probably something that's been very much talked about in the same circles, that who probably will be listening to this. But too bad, we're talking about it anyways.
Actually, on the note of getting your anime groove back, I don't even know if this is so much of a getting your anime groove back as much as introducing anime to new people. You and I were having a conversation about this not long ago. If you're trying to show anime to people who are wanting to get into anime but they haven't really, Blue Exorcist is actually a pretty good shonen anime to just kind of introduce the shonen genre.
I never really warmed up to Blue Exorcist. I didn't watch more than a couple episodes, but I never really warmed up to it.
The problem with Blue Exorcist is also, in my opinion, its greatest strength is that it's pretty much a by the numbers shonen show, which it's done well, so I think it's great, which is why it's a good introduction, and there's not like 100 episodes, so it doesn't take forever to get into it.
True.
So
yeah, we've discovered it makes a really good introductory show, just in general. But I guess with that, we will move into what's the other one? Oh yeah, English Jamboree. I'm doing a panel where I show clips of people saying Japanese things terribly. And we'll talk later on, but these three panels will also be taking place at MTAC, which will be happening in April.
I know you're probably not watching it. There's been a couple of amazingly Englishy scenes in Symphogear.
I'm sure there is. But speaking of stuff like that, moments of awesome.
It's a moment of awesome.
Do you want to think of something else for Moment of Awesome, or do you want to let Blue Exorcist stand?
actually, I got a couple of things for Moment of Awesome.
Go for it.
I don't know that we will ever do a show on it because it's a little bit more of a slow-paced kind of art piece. Natsume Yojin
Book of Friends.
Yeah, it's better, like, it can also be called Book of Friends. The actual Japanese is Natsume Yojin, and it's a really great little piece of anime. It's available on Crunchyroll. Basically, my entire Moment of Awesome is stemming from the fact that Basil has kindly left his Roku here in my house, and that has been allowing me to watch all kinds of anime off Crunchyroll. It's given me access to Netflix. So I'm mostly just dropping these names because these are all anime that I've watched and I thought are really great that you can watch legally for like a relatively inexpensive, like free. It's like a monthly subscription fee to these services, and a lot of you might already have them anyway.
Crunchyroll's neat because either A, you can watch it a week later,
yeah,
for free just with ads. Or you could pay like $7 or $8 a month, get it in HD up to 1080p. The day after Japan, like most fan subs. But guess what? It's official. It's legal. If you're going to be watching anime,
it actually supports the anime industry.
And someone once told me, well, it's like renting. And I've realized, no, it's not like renting. You get to watch stuff with ads if you choose so, or watch stuff without ads if you choose to pay. This is like watching it on broadcast TV.
Yeah, it is. And it's a great thing. And
you can watch the regular channel, or you can pay for the premium channel.
Yeah, and I'm so happy for it. And a couple of the things that I've been watching on it, one, Blue Exorcist is on Crunchyroll, Durarara is on Crunchyroll, and Magical Girl Madoka is on Crunchyroll. So if you missed any of those shows, they're now available on Crunchyroll. If you don't mind looking at the ads, it's for free if you want to pay the small subscription fee for the month, which they actually have a free trial. So you can get the free trial and you can watch those shows. And you can...
Madoka Magica, definitely worth checking out if you haven't.
Yeah, and also Netflix has a bunch more anime than they used to.
Do they have any subtitled stuff yet?
No, everything is dubbed on Netflix, but most of the dubs are pretty good. Like Bacano, I actually think Bacano might, well, it's not better dubbed, but the Bacano dubbed is very well done.
I believe there is now one show that is subtitled.
Oh?
On Netflix. I can't remember the name. I remember hearing about it and realizing that it was a really crappy show. Was it... It was Noir.
Oh, Noir.
Is subtitle. I'm like, man, boy, do they pick a really shitty show to...
That show seemed kind of promising at first, and it went crappy really quick.
Well, things like Howl's Moving Castle are on Netflix, too. And, some really good stuff is on Netflix. So, if you have Netflix and you haven't checked out what anime is on Netflix, check it out. You'll be happily surprised.
And a Roku's a really useful device. They're between like $60 and $100.
Yeah.
As long as you have a broadband internet connection, it's Wi-Fi, and you can use it for any sort of streaming you want. You can do Pandora, Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crunchyroll. I know Funimation for their thing. They're planning on a Roku app later on. And man, if you want to just dump your DVDs, Crunchyroll is becoming a really good service. I checked it out the other day. I wasn't planning to... What's going on? Awesome. And while it's not the best thing for the new shows that are coming out, if you watch anything in Funimation's recent backlog of actual stuff they're producing on discs, it's got like everything. It's got like 200 shows that you can watch and stream in HD if it's available. If it was made for HD,
right?
Without ads, and it's just there. They're like, just watch. It's like $7 or $8 a month as well, and you can just watch all of it. And if that's a really good service for the amount of money you're spending, and if you want to save some money on discs and you want to have walls and walls of DVDs and Blu-rays and don't want to spend the money for it, it's not a bad way to spend your money instead and watch all this stuff without having to torrent everything.
Well, I used to be a big proponent of actually like the fan subs and the torrenting, because I was making the argument that what the fan subbers were offering was a better product. It was a good solid translation of the anime that aired very within days of it airing. But the thing is that there's now services that are doing that are legitimate, that aren't piracy.
I've seen a couple where they kind of have had really crappy translators, sometimes just for an episode, sometimes for the whole series.
Are you talking about
on the streaming stuff?
I've
seen a few.
Well, the trick is that a lot of these people, for one thing, for example, Funimation.
Yeah.
Let's say when they work with Nico to do stuff, they're this is a very fast turnaround.
Yes.
The other thing is that a lot of these people who are doing it are in fact originally fan subbers that Crunchyroll and other people have hired.
Right.
To do stuff.
Yeah.
And
No, it's rare. I should say it's rare that I've watched an episode.
It's occasionally. Like, for example, a recent episode of Audacious Space Pirates, it was obviously that someone ran it through spell check and weren't paying attention.
Yeah, I think I know. I think we're thinking of the same thing.
And I don't think the translation was bad. I think it got spell checked incorrectly.
And just the quality control missed it somehow on the way out. But
I bet if you check the episode now, it's probably been fixed.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If there's a mistake like that, they fix it, and they'll either fix it and you'll never know, or it's just like a mistake because the turnaround time is seriously just a few days after it airs in Japan, if not a day.
And also, there's a lot of really crappy fan subbers out there.
there are.
There's some really good ones. Not everybody is GG.
No, but at least they usually pick up the good shows that aren't getting streamed. So
and that's also one part of their plan is to do stuff. And I'm not saying that torrents are completely obsolete. There is some stuff that you can only watch via torrents. Like, for example, I've been watching lately Aim for the Ace.
Yeah.
It's one of the best tennis shows ever. It's one of the best shows ever. It's one of the Dazaki's works. It's really good. Whether you like sports drama, character drama, or chicks with long legs and short skirts, it's got it for you. Now, it is 70s, and so it does show your age, and I'm watching some fan subs.
70s, which means it's awesome.
And, in the translation, while it's serviceable, they do like to leave a lot of words just plain old untranslated. And
I had that problem with Star Driver. Again, I've been watching Crunchyroll, and Star Driver is on Crunchyroll, and I was watching all of it, and they did not actually translate the Ginga Bishonen. Now, I knew from previous friends that Ginga Bishonen is Galactic Pretty Boy. And I guess they must have decided that having him actually be called the Galactic Pretty Boy was just ridiculous, embarrassing.
Just made it more awesome.
But the thing is that's part of the show. Even in Japanese, something being called the Ginga Bishonen is ridiculous and stupid and embarrassing.
I particularly love later in the show when other characters in the show start proclaiming themselves Galactic Pretty Boys, even when they're women on occasion.
Yes, those characters are quite interesting.
Well, and the trick with that one is that was originally fan subbed by GG.
Yeah.
And they actually, Ginga Bishonen doesn't exactly equate to Galactic Pretty Boy. What they did was, some of the translators of that one from GG, they read and translated or at least they read a interview with the director and scriptwriter.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things was, he wanted something that was intentionally embarrassing to say, and was reminiscent of things like Astro Boy.
Ginga is Galaxy, Bishonen is Pretty Boy. It's pretty literal, actually. That's really...
and that's why, they said that it wasn't exact.
Well, you're both right. It is literally Galactic Pretty Boy, but, Japanese does not translate directly into English in any way, shape, or form. So at the same time, it's all the statement that it's not exactly Galactic Pretty Boy is also true, but the point is, it was supposed to be an embarrassing title.
It's not something anyone in their right mind would call themselves. I do have to say, though, if you don't watch Star Driver, I give it a recommend. The last episode has one of the best mecha battles I've seen in a long time.
I'm still really undecided. I watched that whole thing. To me, the show had one big problem, which is that, most shows kind of introduce you to the setting. They kind of introduce you to the characters. They kind of slowly build up to the fact that something larger might be at play. This show, no, pretty much straight up from the first episode, for no apparent reason, there's a secret cabal of bad guys that are doing something on the island, and you're just thrown headfirst into it. On
a rewatching of some of the early episodes, I've subsequently realized they were literally just getting started themselves, the evil secret organization. They literally had never called up one of the big giant robots till that day.
Well, no, I thought that was made pretty apparent by the end of the episode.
I find, I don't know.
Not end of the episode, but by the end of the series, because when they do the flashbacks, back to 15 years, before all the main characters would have been born. And, they're just doing research. They're not actually activating the giant robots until pretty much the first episode. Yes. But, God, that's just a plot that is just...
Yeah, so I think the show makes a little more sense on a second viewing, but I don't know. I'm a big Bones fan. It's done by Bones. They have a hard time doing any wrong with me.
It actually, in a lot of ways, in my opinion, was a little Utena-esque.
Well, it had one of the writers.
Which might explain why you like it so much.
Yeah.
It was a little Utena-esque in that at some point you realize that this show has a very, very super duper convoluted plot, and it doesn't bother to really tell it to you so much as the super convoluted plot is just happening while at the same time as this relatively normal high school drama, and you just sort of have to piece it together.
Yeah, Star Driver is kind of written like Utena as opposed to Penguin Drum being kind of directed like Utena. So, they both have good things.
Well, my big thing is that, yes, actually I really like the fact that they went balls deep episode 1.
Like
that was really fun. It felt like I was getting splashed with cold water in the very first and went, oh wow, all right, well, let's see how deep this pool goes, and it goes pretty deep.
It does. Well, that's why I say I have mixed feelings. Like, I'm still undecided if I think I am going to have to watch it a second time to decide if I liked it or not.
I will say, the scriptwriter, who also helped write the script for Utena, he also wrote the script for Melody of Oblivion. And I was told in that same interview that the scriptwriter gets to cut loose and go wild in Star Driver. Let me tell you, compared to Melody of Oblivion, this man did not go wild. This man did not go wild. If you want him going wild, you go watch Melody of Oblivion.
I don't know. Star Driver's pretty wild.
It's pretty wild, but it's not as crazy.
Well, Melody of Oblivion does get pretty crazy for no apparent reason. Well, actually for every apparent reason. But
like, if you want to see him go crazy, go watch Melody of Oblivion. That's something we'll have to rewatch and consider for
an awesome cast.
But, alright, Kevin, got anything to support, or are you going to let Star Driver stand?
I don't know.
There's just been so much.
Yeah, I got one thing. I'm not really ready to talk about it on the podcast.
Are we going to do a Penguin Drum episode? Because that's a...
Yes, that's a given.
That's a show that, if you haven't watched it, you need to go watch it, and we're going to do a show on it eventually.
I think I'm one of the few people who really wanted to give Final Fantasy 13-2 a fair chance, and actually thought it was pretty good up till the ball-crushing ending.
Boy, sure guess you're hoping for that DLC.
I'm hoping for an actual legitimate sequel, but
well, good luck with that. From what I understand, they improve a whole lot of gameplay systems, the combat's easier, and the characters and plot are even more stupid.
I would disagree with the final point. I'm not sure about combat being easier either. They've streamlined it a bit. Like, it doesn't take as long to switch paradigms anymore.
I thought the combat in Final Fantasy 13 was fine. I was just super irritated. I don't know if I've ever given my review of Final Fantasy 13 on the OSMcast, so I'm just going to try to quickly rehash it. Because I know I've explained it but to you both in great length, but I actually really like the characters in Final Fantasy 13. I think they're really great characters, and their biggest flaw was being in a story that sucked balls. The gameplay, once they actually finally let you play the game, which unfortunately it took way too long for them to let you do, was really fun. It was super fun. Like, I actually, since playing the game, have sat back and have had cravings to want to play it again, but then I realized that in order to play it again, I would have to go through 30 minutes of tutorial, and it's just not worth it. So I actually surprisingly like the characters, but again, the story is it's just crap, and that's just the most hateful thing I can think to say about it. Because, like, if you look at the story and you break down the story into its nuts and bolts, you break the story down into more like the archetypes of what's going on, it actually has the potential to be a good story, and we see evidence of this in Full Metal Alchemist, where it's basically the same parts, they just did it good.
Well, you can't really disagree because the story's so convoluted unless you really did this paying attention to it. Like Doug did, you'll never know. Doug says this, and I'm going to take it as fact because I didn't care enough about that story.
I have to say I'm not
even
familiar
think about
enough
it.
with Full Metal Alchemist to compare it, to be honest. But
Well, I'm not saying the stories are the exact same, but I'm saying when you break the two stories down to their archetypes, you break them down to the skeleton of the story. They have the same skeleton, it's just in Full Metal Alchemist, they built upon that skeleton, they built this really rich, lush, deep world and plot with dynamic characters and interesting, like, subterfuge going on and all kinds of stuff. And in Final Fantasy 13, they built crap on it.
You know what actually is very similar to Full Metal Alchemist in the end? The plot line for the Jedi Knight in Star Wars The Old Republic. Like, it actually really is. I'm going to go, because that's like the later half, and it gets kind of spoilery. I won't explain it, but yeah. I was actually seeing what the actual end of plot was, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's very Full Metal of them.
And when I say Full Metal Alchemist, I do, of course, mean Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I do not mean the original Full Metal Alchemist anime that ended in Nazis.
Although, the manga is also good. Of course, speaking of manga and also Bones, I don't know if you heard, Kevin, that Vertical is actually putting out the Hero Man manga.
that is good to know.
So-
There's another thing. I loved Hero Man. If we're going to another Bones, I'm one that like don't know many other people who went, oh my god, Hero Man was great. I thought it was awesome.
And with that, I would like to also first point out that, yes, you can go to our website, OSMcast.com. You can send us an email at awesomecast@gmail.com. We've also got a voicemail. It may work. I don't know. No one ever uses it. I may just take it down for just taking it down's sake.
Yeah, I don't know.
So send us voicemails if you don't want the voicemail to be taken down.
Yeah, that would be the best way to show us you want us to keep it.
It's true. And also, if you would like to follow me on Twitter, because I'm the only one on Twitter,
Yep.
it's Basil time.
It's Basil time. You kids with your Twitters and your lawns and getting dogs on them and my lawn and Twitter.
That's right. But speaking of emails, we actually have one. And this is actually a real one, and it's a long one. It was sent to us way back in October. So sorry, Beth, that it took us so long to get to you. Here we go. Good morning. We're actually recording at night. You should have known that, Beth. I learned about your podcast from a plug on an episode of Alex White's The Gearheart. Side note, we have known Alex White for almost over a decade now.
Oh man, Alex is a great guy.
He's a great guy. What the Gearheart is, it is his own steampunk fiction that he is. I think it's his novel that he actually recreated in a podcast form as sort of sound effect-y audiobook.
That's cool.
That's
So sort of a podcast radio drama?
Yeah, but based on his book and
Yeah.
possibly reading of his book, but in a radio drama style fashion.
So I have known Alex White for a very, very, very long time. And even back then, even back when we were in high school, Alex White was into steampunk before it was like a thing.
Some people will just say they were into steampunk before it was a thing.
No, some people will say that they were into it before it was a thing. He, honest to God, was, and like he would all the time like we were in the same art class was how we knew each other, and he was always drawing. And he was always drawing like these clockwork type things, these machines that operated off of steam power. He would have these plot lines where the fact that everything worked off of either steam or clockwork was very integral to his plot. Like,
I really like clockwork stuff. I'm not so much about all the other parts of steampunk, but I love little clockwork things. They're awesome.
Well, steampunk is weird in that it honestly is an amalgamation of a bunch of little things that people liked, and they turn into a fashion statement, a style of cosplay, and then the mythos around the idea of doing steampunk things, then regurgitated on top of that.
Yeah. But
I
I do really like the idea of having little clockwork devices that do way cooler things than anything made of clockwork should really do.
well, in ancient China, actually, like a lot of the West doesn't really realize this because China was sealed off for so long. But a lot of the ruins that we find in China from ancient China, apparently the Chinese
That's some awesome clockwork stuff.
employed some amazing clockwork just devices that just did things that we wouldn't think would be capable of doing with clockwork. They did.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. That's just awesome.
But anyhow, just the point to my addition was actually just, to assert that Alex White is the real deal.
It's true. To continue, being unable to resist a podcast called Awesome, I promptly downloaded several episodes. That was a few weeks ago, and now I've basically caught up with the last 6 months or so.
Hooray!
I commute by bus 2 hours a day and really need something interesting to listen to. It was enough to determine that you are not the average anime fans, and by that I mean you are, comparatively speaking, more mature, open-minded, and intelligent about your anime selection and reviews.
Except for that Kevin guy.
Yeah.
I trust your opinions and believe you collectively to be ones who can assist me. I have heard Basil mention several times his getting your anime groove back concept, and I admit I am sorely in need of some help in this regard.
Ooh.
I joined the anime club in high school because my best friend was the president. I'd never seen anime before, but he insisted I'd like it. This is approximately 1 year before Cartoon Network began airing Cowboy Bebop on Adult Swim, and around 2 years before anime was suddenly the hottest thing since ping pong. I cut my teeth on anime like Akira, Urusei Yatsura, Love Hina, Tenchi Muyo, Samurai X, Perfect Blue, and Bubblegum Crisis 2040. My favorite was, and remains to this day, Generator Gall. Dubbed long before anyone knew who the hell Vic Mignogna was, and containing such a perfect combination of humor, romance, action, fighting robots, time travel, and food love that I've yet to see its equal.
I have to admit that's an interesting choice for a favorite and not one I've heard many times before.
But I want to see its sequel. I'm tired of watching the same anime over and over again. Similarly, I am tired of wasting valuable time and hard drive space to acquire, in quotes, new anime only to find that it sucks. So my challenge now is to find anime that I'm likely to enjoy that, say, can be found on Netflix streaming. Any advice you can offer in this regard would be most helpful. I'm trying to get my groove back, and I'm discouraged at every turn so far. Now a note on My Little Pony, which has been mentioned on your show with some bewilderment a few times. As a girl who was alive in the 80s, I watched the original show. I was pleased to hear that it was being remade, because I remembered it sucking hardcore. My daughter, age 7, found it and started watching it. She enjoyed it, and that made me happy. One night, and I believe she was referring to the new show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One night, I sat down and watched a couple of episodes with her, and was pleasantly surprised. It was cleverly written, completely child-friendly, and extremely well animated.
Yes.
All of which are rare enough traits in today's world of children's programming, which I assure you is extremely dismal.
I don't know if we've had an episode since I've actually seen a couple episodes, and I do have to agree, it's actually it's a quality show.
We probably should do a whole My Little Pony OSMcast.
Oh God.
Because
I'm not that familiar with it. I've just seen a couple episodes.
Well, that's something to think about.
Yeah.
I just want to back Beth up here and say that, yeah, My Little Pony, like the remake of My Little Pony is great. I personally like the first season better than the second season, but I'm not complaining about the second season.
Well, for review purposes, I wouldn't mind watching some more episodes. I honestly have to say, I'm not a brony, but I see the quality that went into the show.
Well, the reason the whole brony thing happened, the reason the whole brony thing happened is 4chan, but the reason it stuck around and we actually have legitimate fans of it is because it's a legitimately good show.
Maybe if I'd never seen Sailor Moon before, My Little Pony might have been my jump on for cute girly things that are actually awesome.
Anyway, that was the extent of my interest in the show. It was better than the other shows my kids were fond of, and I was happy that it made my daughter happy. I was amused by a video I saw in which a high school-aged boy discussed the physical impossibilities of My Little Pony for a class project, but thought it was odd that a teenage boy would be into something like that. Then, for the first time ever, I learned something from reading YouTube comments. The brony movement is completely ridiculous. Is it a good show? Yes. It is even great. I think so. Guys, it might even be groundbreaking. But it's a groundbreaking show geared towards 7-year-old girls like my daughter. This will fade away, I assure you. It's a perplexing phenomenon, but it will not last. Okay, I will stop taking up so much of your time now. Great job, keep it up. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm especially looking forward to your inevitable review of Skyrim once it comes out. I know I won't be doing anything else for a while. Thanks.
Well, Skyrim has come out, so I guess you better give a review real quick.
It's awesome!
Skyrim is great,
yeah.
it's huge, and I'm sad to say I quit playing it when Star Wars came out.
You will feel like a sexy shoeless god of war after you kill your first dragon. You'll be an invincible warrior of doom after you kill your second dragon, and then the giant will still kill you in one hit.
Anyways, My Little Pony, worth the OSMcast, although the brony movement is still very much full in effect, although I think it has simmered down at least within the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
I definitely think there are a lot of bronies still left, and we'll see. I'm not sure which are more annoying brony fans or annoying Homestruck fans.
I kind of think that the whole brony thing, and first of all, when I use the term brony, I mean, girls can be bronies too. Like, I'm not specifically referring to guys that are fans of the show. I'm referring to anybody who is above the target age of 7 and is a fan of the show.
Yeah.
But I do think that I disagree with Beth thinking that it's going to fade away. I do think it's going to stick around, but I think it's going to stick around sort of in the same way that Sailor Moon has stuck around.
It's going to be one of those things that if you watched it and you really liked it when it was shiny and new, you're going to remember it.
Yeah, it's going to stick with you, but
there'll be like a little cult fandom probably forever.
I think the biggest problem that show is going to face is the fact that this is a show designed to sell My Little Pony merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of these bronies and people who are watching it that are older aren't probably going to be wanting to buy the merchandise because it doesn't actually look.
Yeah, no, the merchandise is crap. I've seen it at my Walmart. It doesn't really look like the characters. It's
I do not have them in my possession at this exact moment, but me and one of my friends went in to buy some of the My Little Pony figures to support the show, and I will soon have a rarity. Like Jess is actually buying them, but I will soon have a rarity and a Twilight Sparkle to watch me study.
Well, there you go. But on to the whole anime
that would have been
thing.
my choices.
As far as Netflix goes, I haven't really looked on the Netflix queue for anime. Although we did mention earlier, Bacano's a very good one.
Yeah, Bacano's
Howl's
on
Moving
there.
Castle's decent. We mentioned that.
On Crunchyroll, I would really highly suggest Bodacious Space Pirates. Now you might go, wait a minute, you just called it Bodacious Space Pirates. It is very much more on the space side than Pirates, and at the very end, Bodacious, but it's almost like an understatement.
It's
not really.
It's more like they cast a bunch of cute high school girls to be the main characters, basically to trick you into watching this actual serious science fiction
Yes,
stuff.
maybe it's a mistake comparing it to Cowboy Bebop, but Cowboy Bebop had kind of that almost hard science edge to a lot of the stuff in the show. So does Bodacious Space Pirates, surprisingly. I mean, this show, it thinks about things. It's not a stupid sci-fi show that never thinks about how space travel works. It really, in fact, goes into a lot of detail about how their stuff works.
Yes, I've heard the biggest complaint that people have is that it's slow-paced, which is one of my favorite parts.
Yeah,
of it.
me too.
If it keeps going the way it's going, we'll definitely do an awesome cast about it at some point in its future. But really, the show, unfortunately, you'd have to buy it, thankfully it's cheap, is actually the subject of tonight's actual segment, which is Redline. Okay, so, like I mentioned earlier, chances are, if you listen to this podcast, you probably checked other podcasts and other review sites and other blogs, and you probably have already heard things like Redline is amazing, Redline is wonderful, and you should watch Redline, and it's all true. 100%, there is no hyperbole for this thing. It is that good.
The Redline itself is hyperbole.
And I'm sure that you've read them and you've heard them and people have talked, and what we say may not, in fact, we may just be piling on to what has already been said, but I don't care. You're going to listen to it and you're going to like it.
Well, they could turn it off.
Yes.
No, they can't turn it off.
I believe I'm quoting Daryl Surratt when I say there is literally not a frame in the film that you can freeze frame on that wouldn't make an incredibly excellent wallpaper.
Yeah, like first of all, the animation is beautiful. It's very highly stylized. If you liked the eye catches in Gurren Lagann, the entire anime is pretty much animated in that style, and they've taken exquisite work. They've done it exquisitely well.
And it's all like real animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it was done. This thing was made with, took 7 years of animation time to make, production-wise. It was directed by Takeshi Koike, as you probably just heard. It was, co-written by Katsuhito Ishii, who's also done some other stuff. And it's a tour de force. It is a tour de force in animation, sound, story, everything. And one of the worst criticizations that you can make of this is to say that it's not deep, that it's all flash and no substance, when it is like the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, it's actually got some depth on in there.
There is yes, it's not maybe immediately obvious.
Well, the trick is that not only can every frame be a wallpaper, every frame is telling the story.
Yes.
There is not a single bit of wasted space. There's not a single bit. And it's one of the things that it took so long to make was that a lot of this stuff was, everything's hand-drawn and they took the time to put everything in there.
It's kind of like Hot Fuzz in that there's literally no part of the film that isn't important to the story.
Yeah, that's true.
And also with so many anime being made nowadays with crappy budgets and unpaid workers and all the stuff that currently makes anime suck when it sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Even when it's good shows, they can, parts of it can suck. A lot of anime is really guilty of, especially nowadays, of a lot of telling and not nearly enough showing.
Mm-hmm.
And this Redline is almost mostly showing with a little bit of telling. And so unless you realize you know where to look and to look, yeah, you could probably watch this beginning to end as a popcorn flick and enjoy it. Yes. It's possible. I know myself some popcorn flicks. I enjoy them all the time. This is not a popcorn flick.
Well, I think the first time you showed it to me, I watched it, and I did think it was kind of a popcorn flick. But there eventually came a point in the movie when I realized that it was not a popcorn flick.
Yeah. Oh.
And I realized that I should have been paying better attention, forcing a second watch.
There's so much detail.
And then there's things I didn't even catch until the third episode.
Yes.
As stupid as it's going to sound, one of the main characters, Frisbee, I didn't get that he was supposed to be that he was short. I know that's a weird thing
he's
not
tiny.
to catch.
I mean, yeah, he is.
But it's true. He is. He's very short, and that actually kind of plays into a goblin, like a goblin tinker, and it kind of fits how he looks in general.
Yeah, he does kind of look like a little green goblin guy.
Yeah. Well, little blue goblin, but
well, blue-green. I don't know.
And also it does play into his character as sort of the not-so-good character.
No, but he's not bad. He's a little bad, but he's not evil by any stretch.
I count Frisbee as one of the good guys.
Yes.
I count him as being in a bad situation. Yeah. I think he is a good character that has honest flaws.
But I guess we should explain what Redline is. It takes place in the far-flung future where technology is advanced so far that racing is now something that doesn't have to happen, which means that only crazy people do it. And so crazy people do, and as it turns out, it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's the most shallow of observations. If you thought it's like someone went, the race scenes in Speed Racer were fine, but they were a little dull.
Well, actually, whenever I've watched it with other people, the first observation that they've made about Redline is that it's very reminiscent of the Wacky Races.
A little bit.
Like the Hanna-Barbera cartoon, is that both races that are actually on camera but the first race and the second race both have this kind of like wacky races feel to them because apparently there's no rules.
Yeah, apparently, if long as your car uses a combustion engine, and that's even in a bit of background dialogue you can totally miss because there's so much other stuff being said at once. It's like, as long as you have a combustion engine, anything goes.
Well, it's also, quote-unquote, underground racing.
Yeah.
Of course, it's underground racing that's televised to the galaxy.
Yes. It is like
you say it's underground racing, and I thought you told me that when I was first watching it, but when I was actually watching it like the third time, like it occurred to me that they never really said it was underground racing. It's just that the planet that they decided to have the final like championship race on didn't want them to have it on their planet, and so that's what made that race underground.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty positive they say at some point early in the film that it is illegal underground racing.
Huh.
That is not supposed to happen. And
yet it's televised.
Yes, and
It's
several
televised.
planetary governments are complicit in making the race happen.
and that there is a syndicate that runs it. Now, I'm willing to bet that a lot of these planets that are, that help endorse it probably form the syndicate. And my personal belief, and this is going a bit fast, whatever, is that it's a syndicate where they place races, especially the Redline race, which happens like every few years.
It happens every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
It's the big one if you're a racer.
It's the big one. It's sort of like,
It's the grand championship race.
Yeah, the first race that, when you first start watching the show, you're already in the middle of the yellow line.
They also
Which
mention
is
a
one-
blue line.
Well, I think there's probably various colored
Yeah.
lines they have at various places.
Yeah.
That are sort of like the qualifier events.
Yeah, because
But
like
the-
the winners of the blue line and the winner of the red line or the yellow line event both end up then at the
At the
line.
red line, and the red line is like the championship race.
And I really do think that the whole purpose of the syndicate is to place the red line on whatever planet they feel is being the most assholes lately.
Yep.
Well,
that's-
red line just wouldn't be interesting if the whole planetary military force was not trying to kill you.
Well, I think that was an extreme case because a lot of people would say normally I'm not going to red
Yeah,
line this
they
time."
do. And part of the plot, the only reason our main character even gets involved is he was next in line and somebody dropped out.
Well, he was actually third or fourth in line, and the third. And,
Yeah, a couple people actually.
several
yeah,
people
if I recall
dropped out.
Right, a couple people dropped out, and fan voting got him in because they
Yeah.
he put on a good show at Yellow Line.
Well, that's the thing about our main character. His name is Sweet JP, and part of the reason he's called Sweet JP is because unlike everybody else in the race, everybody else is firing missiles, floating on river.
Missiles, Gatling guns, grappling hooks, anything goes. Car turns into a giant robot. All cool.
JP, his car is only equipped with defensive capabilities, and he really believes in racing. And he really just wants to race for the sake of
He
racing.
believes in two things: racing and 3-foot pompadours.
Yes. His pompadour is...
It's glorious.
It's tremendous.
It's glorious in all its rockabilly awesomeness.
It's possible. It's totally 100% true.
I believe the box art for the cover extends his pompadour off the screen. There are several images in the actual anime where that is not an exaggeration.
Yes, they do kind of the lengthening whenever the cars use their nitro equivalent. They go into warp speed is the visual effect. Everything stretches out. I mean, it's that kind of stylization in the animation, that kind of stylization that makes it so good looking.
Well, there's also a certain point, when the red line actually starts, the cars actually drop down and they start running the red line, a baseline starts. And I feel I need to mention this baseline because it's just so awesome. Because the baseline starts and it pretty much does not stop until the end of the movie. Now, there are periods of time where they drop out the music that has a baseline because other events are taking place and they need to
They'll cut to
pause.
someone else, or
They have to cut to another scene, or they have to cut to something else that's going on. But if you sit there and you tap your foot to the baseline the whole time, even when it cuts away, when it comes back, it picks up exactly on the beat it left off on. It keeps going. The whole thing just keeps going.
Yeah, it was really good. It was actually done by a guy named James Shimoji. I don't know if that's a pen name or what.
Probably.
Although it is really need to be said that, Takeshi Koike was mentored by Yoshiaki Kawajiri at MADHOUSE.
Which is not the worst mentor to have by any means.
Well, he's the one who directed, Vampire D and a whole bunch of other really good stuff at MADHOUSE.
Demon City Shinjuku, Wicked City. Most of his movies involve a guy hero, a mysterious, slightly magical girl, and a weird old man.
Well, I could very easily see Redline becoming, if it has not already achieved this status, I could very easily see it becoming a cult classic. Like, I think it's got the same good quality that Akira has to it, where I think this is just going to be something that some anime fans are going to consider the best anime ever, and at least other anime fans are going to concede that it's pretty good.
If you differently, correct me, but I'm given to understand it didn't do well in Japan.
I believe it did not do that great in Japan. But this is not the first thing that Koike has done that we've seen.
Yeah.
He actually did the world record segment of the Animatrix.
Yeah.
And then he also directed that first trailer reel for the Iron Man anime. The one that everyone thought looked really good.
Oh, the one that looked really awesome, and then you actually saw the show.
Yeah, then there was someone else. So he did that trailer.
Oh, well, he should have done the anime.
He's probably still busy doing Redline.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
the thing took 7 years. It didn't even hit Japan until 2010, and we didn't get it until this year, January officially.
Although I've not heard, like in the American end, I've not found a reviewer who's really had anything bad to say about it. Like I said, the worst thing people say is they miss the depth of the plot, but...
Well.
And it's totally there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things like JP's yearning for racing, his connections to one of his rivals, Sonache, why him and Frisbee did what they did, their conditions on the plan, why they did what they did to create the team they created and their style of racing that they did. It all makes sense once you put all the pieces together. And we haven't gotten to all other drivers.
No.
They're all great.
They're all surprisingly interesting. Some of them don't get very much screen time at all, but they all have definite character.
Yeah, like...
You don't forget a single one, and you can have a favorite one that's not JP very easily.
Yeah.
And their stuff is shown in their segments they get. Everyone gets their own unique
it's like
tunes.
there's like on the TV, and they have little segments about the racers. And yes, everyone has their own leitmotif in the music.
I kind of like the two girls who are from like the fairy. Is it the fairy world or is it just the magic world?
It's
well, I don't know.
They're Super
Sweetgrass, the Super Boyns.
The Super Boyns,
who I personally believe are secret agents on behalf of the Queen, and their little pop star ditzy act is all obfuscating stupidity.
Well, I assume that too, which the fact that we're both assuming that might actually
make it true.
Well, it might actually make it true. It might also imply that maybe there was something deeper in there that we still have missed, and we need to go back and see. But
and no one can forget the theme song for Machine Head. Who's the guy who can actually transform into his car.
King of Kings.
It's good stuff. Gory Rider. The corrupt gorilla cop.
Yeah.
For adultery, who doesn't
Sleeping
care.
with his boss or co-worker cop, I don't know.
He was constantly capturing, the bounty hunters Lynchman and Johnny Boya, who has my favorite theme song.
I like those two characters a lot too. Lynchman and Boya. Like Boya's the one with the blue ears, the blue one with furry ears.
That's Trava and Shinkai.
Those are cool. No, Lynchman, and I still insist that they intended Johnny Boy, and that's how I usually say it. That's what I usually.
I really like
Trava.
I really like Trava.
Yeah,
like,
then there's the humans. Because there are actually some humans.
There's
in this.
2 humans. Well, we're
Miki
not sure.
And Tora Doki. No, they're humans from.
Well, they're from Earth. We're not sure if like.
Well, no, that's actually part of the thing. That's really
I know. Yeah,
funny.
it's like I should say there are other racers that look human. We're just not sure where they're actually from.
Yeah, there's other humanoid creatures out there. Well, if you look very closely at JP and Sonashi, I think they actually have pointed ears. I could.
Yeah, I need to freeze frame because I'm pretty sure they've got characters' personal information flashing on screen at times.
I know for a fact that there is, because whenever they do the TV segment, they have specialized information on the screen that unless you stop and read it, you'll miss it. But yeah, JP does in fact have pointed ears. I've looked at that.
They do look pretty pointy.
And I think Sonashi does too, but I would have to recheck it. More importantly, something that I found amusing, I don't know that any of the other people watching it with me found it quite as amusing, was 2 human characters. They always had them doing things like one of them was eating a banana. A lot of times they would have one of them make like an eek or an ook sound. They are highly evolved monkeys motif.
Yeah,
was actually kind of really strong with the two human from Earth characters.
Perhaps that's a comment on the tendency of Japanese television to try to make minority non-Japanese people in their TV shows act like the stereotypes.
But
it's a random thought. Sorry.
Well, no. It's a perfectly valid random thought. But like one of the reasons I think that's interesting to point out is that the yellow line, the first race we start out on, is clearly happening on the planet where everybody evolved from dogs.
And they are all such unique-looking dogs. Like,
I know.
This is not like a planet of they just pasted the same head on 20 guys. They all are distinct individuals. Like, if this was a real planet and you went there and it looked just like this, you could tell individuals apart. No problem.
And that's the same everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's rarely any recycled character designs.
There's some little green parrot beak guys who all look kind of alike, but even they're a little variation.
No. If you look at them, they do
have
have variations, and I think it is supposed to be the same 6 parrot-looking boys over and over again.
And I think they're like their own little team of.
Yeah, they're running about the camp they've got where they're getting ready to run the race.
And as artistically neat as it looks, and how crazy it is, they get the points where they want realism really well.
Yeah.
Like when you go to when on the planet that's pretty much demilitarized zone.
Yeah.
That's
like the moon of the planet where they're going to hold the race is a demilitarized zone that has a bunch of refugees, so they decided that's a good place to set up camp because the military's not going to go there.
I actually thought that the explanation that they gave in that was that due to some treaty that the machine planet had to sign over at one point, it's not that it was really a demilitarized zone as much as the machine planet had signed like an intergalactic treaty was a refugee
Yeah, that's
camp.
what it is. That's what made it.
And Robo World can't get there. Like
that's what
Robo World's military cannot act in that.
That's
way.
what made it a demilitarized zone was
Okay.
because they signed treaties to say that they wouldn't bring their military there.
But it looks like an honest to God futuristic shanty town.
It is. It's a great futuristic shanty town.
And there's also times where like the drug lord guy who Frisbee goes to get his money from. Most anime jokes or cartoon shows in general jokes about doing cocaine.
Oh no.
This guy does it.
Or at least something suspiciously similar.
Like, and you're getting all up his teeth and gums. Like, thank God there's subtitles because I couldn't understand what he's saying anyway without it.
He has like high-class hookers paid to give him his coke. Feed it right into him.
Well, they also treat high leader mafioso guy is doing cocaine, like even with the like rapidly swinging mood changes right after he has it, and the shaky hands before he does it, like they do it all.
Those scenes are not gags. They are treating it surprisingly seriously.
But yeah, this is a good show. This is a good, great movie. It's cheap. It's like the Blu-ray is like $20 on Amazon. The DVD is like $15.
Yeah. You can probably find just the regular DVD at Walmart because I know they have it at mine. We don't have any of the Blu-ray, but you should get the Blu-ray.
If you have the option.
If you have the option, get the Blu-ray. There's so much detail in each and every scene.
And I think we did a pretty good job explaining just why I like this show so much. So we're going to take another musical break and then actually get into the nitty-gritty details on why exactly in spoiler territory, why we actually think the bits are as good as the bits are.
face of the universe is renowned, yeah. Don't be looking round that dear. Speed shift to the fastest gear. We gon' make some history. Come life is alive with me. To the town, yeah. Get the stone street, come down into the ground with this ground.
Again, warning, spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers are ahead.
It was speaking of the Drug Lord. Early on in the show, after the big wreck, JP remembers before he wakens up, he remembers the scene of him as a kid watching this gigantic-ass car drive by, where there's this awesome rich dude with these two women, who's making it two women at once, and driving by.
Yes.
And then you realize when you're watching the Drug Lord, it's the same suit. It's probably the same car, or a very similar kind of limo. It's the same guy. Where obviously, when they were younger, they were probably very influenced, because it's pretty obvious that both Frisbee, and JP are poor.
Frisbee and JP grew up poor together.
Yeah, we get some flashbacks. You see them being kids and being poor kids having fun as best they can.
Like they are poor bros.
And then there's another scene where Sonoshé is trying to is racing, and they're kind of making fun of her for racing, and
Well, she crashes. Like she's practiced racing, and she crashes into some of the built up tires, and they're kind of making fun of her, except for JP, who tells her, you did good enough. Why don't you just pack it up on home? Like, no one's gonna be ashamed of you for doing everything you've done. That shit just happens. And she curses him out and tells him to stop watching from the sidelines and actually race.
And I think that was the impetus he had for getting to racing, where he and Frisbee get together, Frisbee designs it, he races it, and they eventually get with Pops, whatever his name is. I like to think of him as Pops.
The weird, four-armed, vaguely spidery, elfy old alien guy.
He looks exactly the same as Jumanji from Spirited Away, the Boiler Room Man.
He looks very similar, yeah.
He looks almost identical, which makes me think, which the similarity is so striking that it makes me think that must be some Japanese mythological creature that I'm just not familiar with.
But anyways, they get together, and the one thing where they really compete well, they needed money. Mm-hmm. So Frisbee obviously went to this super rich guy they know of, who's a drug lord.
Yeah.
And they got him to, fund it for their scheme.
Yeah, they talk about it. It's like they funded his car, but he lost the race.
But that was JP saying, was he was a race losing specialist.
Well, this is before they did the race losing thing. They do explain this in the show. It's like he's telling, when Sonoshi asks about him being accused of fixing races, he explains that they got into a race, they funded, but he lost that race, and now the little guy's what name was it? Frisbee got in debt, really serious in debt to the mafia guys from that, and that's when he had to start fixing the races.
That's right, you're right.
And they were running a scheme where he'd start out like in last place, and he'd be the long shot, and then he'd start looking like he's about to win to get up. A lot of people putting money down on him until betting was closed, and then he'd throw the race.
And it's obviously at this point he's gotten tired of it. Screw it.
Well,
he wants to win.
It's actually obvious at this point that JP no longer knows that Frisbee is still doing.
Okay, I think you're in the yellow line. You're right.
Yeah, I think in the yellow line, JP was not aware that Frisbee was still doing this. Yeah. But then when the accident happened right before he was about to win, he figured it out.
Right.
Because he's obviously not happy about it later in his hospital bed.
Yeah, in his hospital bed.
And I think he trusted Frisbee enough for the red line.
Yeah.
To
not screw him over.
Like, and once they got to the big race that Frisbee didn't want to do it. I mean, apparently, hopefully, if Seen Smooth or not, well, guess what? He doesn't do it.
Yeah, no, and he obviously is very conflicted about it.
Well, what are you talking about?
I think that for the red line, JP knew exactly what Frisbee was doing.
Yeah.
But that he trusted Frisbee.
I don't think he did. I don't think JP knew. I think JP trusted Frisbee because Frisbee was his childhood bro from the hood and did not think that Frisbee was going to do it again. But of course Frisbee did do it again, but you could still tell that Frisbee didn't really want to be doing it again.
Well, there was that scene with the chips, the bag of chips that JP has. Frisbee's like, dude, this is the plan. This is what we have to do. We have to do this. And then JP's like, yeah, but once behind the wheel, I'm in charge, right? Well, yes. Okay, cool. And he dumps the bag of chips on his head and you have to take the bad with the good.
Yeah.
We're a team. Like, that was, I think JP Koike's like, I know what you're trying to tell me. I don't care. And that's why I think he trusted Frisbee enough as his best friend to not screw him over in the big race.
Yeah.
And thank God for both of them that Pops is an awesome dude with a freaking cool shotgun.
Yeah, Pops is awesome.
You know, and then that's just one of the things where, like, there's all this thing to it that if you watch it the first time, you're not going to realize it.
Yeah, you might not get it, but it's there. It's all there.
You know, and then the whole, like, one thing that I actually got this from a person named Tag on a forum called Talking Time, so thanks Tag, about this whole thing, which apparently Kevin realized, was that
I thought maybe, like,
there's a very good chance that Sonoshee and Machine Head might be son and daughter and son. Daughter and father.
Father and daughter.
And it's because apparently at some point it's stated, whether it's outside through director commentary or in one of those, like, you know, background images, that Sonoshee and Machine Head are the same race. And when Sonoshee, you know, when JP walks into Sonoshee at the
fancy restaurant.
In the middle of the desert, which is a big, you know, seafood place.
Yeah. The fancy desert on the shithole planet in the middle of a desert.
She tries to blow him off by saying, I'm waiting for somebody. And there was, in fact, a table setting for two.
True.
And she doesn't know why. You know, she doesn't expect JP there. And she also doesn't expect the next guy, Shinkai, to be there. And then later on, Machine Head makes his glorious entrance, and then she waves to him.
Yeah.
So it can be easily inferred that she was waiting for Machine Head.
And the plot point of the pendant with the steam light. And that, you know, it was a gift from her father, and then later it stated that...
very, very, very rare. But only Machine Head's been able to make use of it.
Yeah, it's later stated Machine Head's the only guy who's ever been able to use it without killing himself or wrecking his car.
And in the grand finale, you know, the big back and forth banter is, well, JP's in there a little bit. It's really between Sonoshee and Machine Head, like they've known each other for a very long time.
Yeah.
So it's not, and Machine Head is obviously the elder of all the racers.
Well, they say when they're doing little TV interviews to kind of introduce all the characters.
I can't remember how many times they said he
say
won,
that he's the first, that he was the very first winner of the Red Line.
Now it's actually one of the commentator guys who was the first winner. He won the 5th Red Line. I just watched it again today. But he's won most of them, if not all of them, since then.
But that still means he's done it for at least a couple of decades.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very likely that that's probably why Sonoshee got into racing, was because her father was a big racer.
I mean, this would make sense. It's never directly stated in the film, which is part of the brilliance in this case. But I had this thought, and other people apparently is corroborated somewhat by the story.
And it's such an obviously well realized science fiction world.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think it's a really neat idea of we're going to expose conspiracies and stuff by way of street racing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that scene where World's like, oh god, they're televising all our secrets.
Yes, I mean, there's...
Yeah, like, we're well into spoiler territory, so I think it's safe to go ahead and say, the reason that Robo World did not want the Red Line happening on their planet is because they were developing all sorts of biological weapons that were outlawed by, like, what did they call it, by, like, the United Concession of Planets, or...
Yeah. So I say Funky Boy was not supposed to exist.
They were working on a lot of stuff that was not kosher with the way the rest of the whatever galactic governments thought.
The rest of the galaxy was not okay with things that Machine
They were not cool with self-regenerating psychic death babies that are like 100 feet tall. They go fig.
Yeah.
Inexplicably, in the middle of this anime, in fact, there are two giant Eldritch abominations fighting. Then they get back to racing.
Yeah. Like, that's one of the moments where, like, when I was mentioning earlier where the baseline stops, it's because two Eldritch abominations get woken up and start fighting, and the racers have to go, oh shit, what's that? Get back in their cars.
A good chunk of the beginning of the Red Line race is, in fact, just them trying not to get killed by the military.
And it's a really neat way how they pace the film, where they give you this first 13 minutes of just non-stop racing.
Yeah.
Awesome racing. And then they give you lots of backstory building, let the characters actually act and shine, and it gives you a chance to see them outside their cars.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see all the characters outside the cars. Every single one scene, whether it's Lichman and Johnny Boya like sabotaging.
I mean,
the middle
in the middle of the red line, like, because two of the characters, it turns out, are actually from the machine world and had like left the military in order to become bounty hunters and / or racers. But their one friend that they left in the machine world military is so like pissed off and upset with him that in the middle of the red line race, he
decides he's joining.
he decides he's joining, and he's now one of the competitors in the race.
I think he even gets tracked at some point
Yeah.
as an official competitor. And I really do think in Syndicate, what they do is they go, okay, who's been the biggest assholes lately? Let's throw the red line on there and then screw them over. And then actively make sure that they can't do shit to us. Because, let's put it out of the way, they had that giant...
Yeah, they sabotage their giant death ray cannon. They send people in like powered suits to sabotage the main power source for the planet's bigger defenses so that they're really kind of limited.
They were trying to activate Funky Boy so that they could capture it on camera.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point was not only was it a race, but also a concerted effort to screw over Robo-World, which I think is a ginormous, like, American military parody.
Yeah, and I noticed their logo, if you kind of squint at it, turns into a swastika.
Yeah, the logo very strongly resembles a swastika. It only has 3 wheels to it instead of 4, but it's still a strong enough representation.
But, yeah, if you listen to what the Robo-World guys are saying...
But at the same time, one of the Robo-World guys looks like Captain America.
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
He looks like Captain America merged with Captain Falcon with the metal pump.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that if you kind of... I can't say cover your eyes because you won't see the subtitles, but I mean, if you stop looking at these are a bunch of weirdo cyborgs and robots and just listen to what they're saying, it does kind of sound like kind of the extreme jingoistic version of America.
Well, specifically, like, the let's bomb Iraq and stuff of the Bush era. Like, it really... really seems a really, really, like, Bush administration.
I don't know that we want to get that political with our own country, but I do think it is safe to say that the negative they are talking the negative aspects of super militarization.
Yeah.
That was present. That America did unfortunately look that way to the rest of the world when we were trying to police the world.
Yes, I mean I'm certainly from a foreign eye I can definitely see the interpretation.
But yeah, so it looks a little bit like a swastika, but at the same time, it sounds an awful lot like American we have to police the world bullshit, and one of the guys looks like Captain America. I think more than being a commentary on America, though, I think it's a commentary on just hyper-militarization.
Yes, most likely.
Yeah.
And that's why the Nazi symbol is thrown in there, is not actually to say Americans are zombies, it's actually to distance those sets of characters from America and just make it more about super militarized people.
Yeah,
it's true, and also Nazis.
Nobody likes Nazis.
Nobody likes Nazis.
But we like racing.
We do like racing.
Man, Red White gives you some great races.
Yes, it is incredible. The crazy stuff they do.
And I know they only get 2 races, but the races themselves are so good.
Oh, they're intense.
It doesn't matter. Like
when you finish watching the movie, like I do not smoke. I have never smoked. I have never picked up a cigarette. But when I finished watching that movie, just about every time I finish watching that movie, I go, "Damn, I want a cigarette." It's like it's that intense and that satisfying.
Redline is one of my favorite movies ever. Mm-hmm. Like it might actually beat out Adolescence if we take it now for my favorite movie.
Oh, never with me, but it's up there. It's up there now.
Like, and it's definitely I've said it's my favorite anime of last year. It may end up also being my favorite anime this year, at least released in the U.S.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I do have to say, now that we've kind of graduated to talking about the near end of the movie, the first time I saw the end of the movie, I was a little bit flabbergasted, because I was like, where's the resolution? Because the movie ended, and I didn't feel that it should have ended. I thought there should have been more. There should have been more scenes, and I was definitely left wanting more. And Basil actually, and I was voicing this opinion, where's the resolution? Where's the follow-up? Where's all this? And Basil pointed out, what more resolution do you need? It does cut off. It does end a little bit sooner than is conventional, but it ends exactly where it needs to end.
The boy wins the race, the boy gets the girl.
What else do you need to know?
Yep. And actually, what I really like about Redline is at the end of the race, when all's said and done, and even the people who didn't win are like, damn, that was an awesome race. We need to do that again sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all happy. I mean, they're like, awesome, this was great.
This was the best race ever, guys. Kind of,
It shows that in the end, as competitive as they are, they're still friends. They're still compadres. They're still, rivals, but it's friendly competition.
This was definitely a case where
they're rivals, they're not enemies.
Yeah, I like that. There's not, the Robo World guys are the villain. I mean, Machine Head is the guy to beat for the race, but
he's not really
evil.
a villain.
He's not evil.
Like,
he's just the best damn racer so far.
Well, and also he built himself to be the best damn racer so far. I mean, he's the only
he's
guy.
Earned it,
he's possibly more cyborg than he is whatever humanoid race he started off as.
Yeah.
And it took JP's their crazy car to be able to create a vehicle that could actually handle steam light. They actually didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That was just
what the hell?
Crazy. And who knows? They may not be able to win the next race because they don't have any more steam light.
I'd also like to point out that what actually caused them to win the red line was actually the bomb.
Yeah.
That Frisbee had implanted to throw off the race. They instead, when they realized that JP was actually gonna win it and fuck the drug lord, they were actually gonna win this thing. They actually used the explosion to give them just a little extra speed and
just so he can win by a hair on his pompadour.
Pops did, the very last bit, whatever, fuck it, boom. I'm drunk, who cares? It's such a well-built movie.
It is. It's so great.
And I really wish that more people, I hope eventually it makes its money back. I really do. I doubt that anyone will ever be able to get this sort of dream, I get to work on this for 7 years thing again.
Yeah.
It's really sad that this just might be, Takeshi Koike's best film, not because he's not a great director, because I think he is, but I don't know if they'll ever give him the time or the budget to pull something off like this ever again.
Because this was just amazing.
And it's a real shame that we just cannot get cartoons like this. I mean, the only people who have the budget to pull something off like this, I think, again, would be Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Disney's not going to commit 7 years to work on something. They commit maybe 3 years at best.
And I guess Studio Ghibli does really good animation.
It does.
And they're really good, but they're always going to do the more family friendly fare. And while I'm sure Redline is fun for the whole family.
Yeah, there's nothing.
In fact, it's one of my favorite humorous scenes. There's the scene where she's in fact watching her own little segment on the TV, and they're talking about her engine, and you get a shot of her bending over her car, and it's like she's like, oh my god, they're focusing on my ass. I hate it when they do that. And she's sitting in a chair topless, and we're looking at her boobs, which is one of my favorite bits.
Well, it's a great scene. But that's when it turns into sort of R-rated, but it's fun for the whole family.
I would say if you're not too hung up on your kids seeing a little bit of boob, I mean, it's not really sexual.
It's actually the TNA that brings the
the
rating up, and there's actually not even that much of it.
The Superboyns, the two really busty racer chicks, they're kind of provocative, but they're not ever actually naked, mostly.
When we were doing the intro, I accidentally sang Rock Over Japan theme from Penguin Drum, specifically because of those two girls. Something about those two girls reminded me of the two pop stars from Penguin Drum.
Which is funny because that actual song is from I think a 1980s, 1990s.
It's like a cover of a real rock song, which is not nearly as ironically funny when there's a guy singing it.
Yeah. But okay, we'll be right back with our final ratings.
Final ratings.
So, how many awesomes out of awesomes can we give Redline?
Can I give it red awesomes? Or are
Yes.
we doing actual, like, numbers now?
No, it's still the same awesomes we've always given.
Okay, then I give it red awesomes in a line.
Crap, that was my idea. Kevin, go.
I give it a whole steam light of awesome.
Cool. I'm going to give it one gigantic, enormous pompadour at the speed of light of awesome. That's just enough to win the race. And go buy this.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
20
Buy
bucks on
this.
Amazon.
It's reasonably priced. Dear God, how much anime can say that these days?
Buy this shit. And I am one that can say you can, because I imported it from Japan to watch it the first time, so I couldn't wait, which that was $60 by itself. And then I bought it again on Blu-ray for myself, but then I decided to host a Redline viewing party, where I then bought another copy on Blu-ray and a copy on DVD to give away.
I won the copy on Blu-ray. I technically didn't buy it. I won it from Basil's competition.
But by gum, it was purchased, and you should purchase this. It needs to be supported, so please do. You will not regret it unless you hate life. Or racing, which is like the same thing.
I don't know. I don't
Come
really
on,
care.
You kids like NASCAR, this is way better.
Honestly, I have to say, I don't care much about racing per se.
Yeah, I
don't give a crap about racing. I love this movie. I also love the Speed Racer live action movie, and that I don't care about racing. But
Oh god, the Speed Racer live action movie. It was not so much about racing as it was about the blood sport of the future.
yeah.
Well, in a sense, while it is family, much more, friendly competition compared to the guys in Speed Racer.
Yeah.
But this one sort of has that same sort of, weapons and vibe to it.
Yeah, gadgets,
Yeah.
weapons, a crazy, over-the-top driving action.
That, technically, some of these people could die, and people do die in this film.
Yes.
None of the main characters do, but tons of random people do get blown up, incinerated.
There's random, and it's mostly Robo World being assholes is directly responsible.
It's true, whether it's good or bad, for even Robo World.
Yeah.
But yes, please, go buy this. It's good stuff. You won't be sorry.
I really can't think of, if you like anything that's good, you should like this movie.
So go, buy it. Welcome back to the OSMcast in 2012.
Woo!
We'll be back again, but until then, we are out.
See you later.
Before the sunrise, one thing is on my mind. Need to take the stress and throw it all away. Feelings to discover, knowing undercover what it is you really mean to me. You are the flower, I'm the rain. Without you, life is not the same. I'm everything you'll ever need. Rarely spoken, we still proceed. See the sunrise looking into your eyes, you riding right next to me, and we both become one, heading towards the sun, following the line, following the red and throw it all